and thanks everyone for making it here on a Friday directly after lunch. I really appreciate it. My name is Sonja. I'm Delivery and Account Manager at Site in our WooCommerce and Payment Specialized team. And I'm here today to take you shopping. So I want to talk today about how AI will change the shopping experience for all of us, how interfaces might evolve, and what this means for us in a WordPress and WooCommerce context. Okay. Somebody might want to help me with the clicker. Ta-da. Here we go. Thank you so much. Before we are heading into the future with AI, I actually want to take a step back, and by back, I mean in time, and having a look at how the shopping experience has evolved over the past decades. And I will transfer you now back into the 50s, 60s, into this little corner store, where you see behind the counter this lovely lady, Mrs. Johnson, and she is, let's say, the original recommendation engine. So you would go into this little corner store every week, and she would know your preferences. She would know exactly what you like, what you're allergic to, and what your kids like. So every Tuesday morning, she would set aside like the best tomatoes for you. She would know exactly the kind of bread, and she would know your price range that you usually like to shop in. But like a lot of things in life, this came with a trade-off. So product variety in those little corner stores were not great, and the prices were quite steep. What we saw happening a little bit later, maybe like 70s, 80s, 90s, was, we call it the big box revolution. Think Costco, think Walmart. You see this poor guy in the middle of this aisle with his shopping cart trying to figure out what he needs. So you see a lot of sales signs, like flashy price tags everywhere, maybe some signs advertising like if you buy 4 products, you get 1 for free. So you basically on your own with this shopping experience. You need to know exactly what you need, and you need a really good shopping list or something to guide you through this. What we saw from the early 2000s on happening was online shopping, the World Wide Web. It's all out there. Basically, you can now browse all the products all over the world, but still, you're a bit on your own. I mean, now you have a lot of filters and criteria that you can search for, and you can look for recommendations, for reviews, and so on, but still, you are basically the recommendation engine yourself. And it can feel quite overwhelming if you're looking for, example, a more pricey product and you're trying to find the right fit for you. That brings us, of course, to the question, what's next? Agentic commerce. We are using AI for a lot of things today that I could have not imagined a few years ago that this is possible. People are using AI in everyday life. They are using it as personal assistants, to write emails for them, to do research. Some are using it even as a kind of psychologist. So it is out there, and the next big thing out there is shopping with AI. So you could think about, if you're thinking about Mrs. Johnson, the lovely lady from the corner store in the beginning, you could think like, now we are combining all of the good things that we've seen before. So Mrs. Johnson is back, but this time she has AI superpowers. Now you might be wondering, is this a realistic scenario? Are we ready for that? So I want to ask you in the audience, are you using AI in your daily life? Please give me a quick hand signal. Who's using AI right now? Did everyone get the question? Okay, just for everyone here in the room, I would say it was like around 90% who raised their hand to this question. Going one step further, would you be ready to use AI for complex tasks like shopping? Please give me a quick hand signal. I can't do the math, but let's say it's like 60% at least. And exactly this question has been raised by Adobe. They wanted to know from their customers, are you using AI in your daily life? And 92% answered with, yes, sure, it's out there, I'm using it, I love it. And only 5% less said, yes, I'm ready to use it also for complex tasks, like shopping, for example. So this is a huge market to tap into. And I want to give you a bit an understanding of what this could look like, how a shopping workflow could look like with AI. So I got into a discussion with Claude, and I said, hey, how could this shopping look like for me and for my dog? You can see here my dog Tibe. He's with me in home office every day, and sometimes the only way to keep him calm is with a nice dog toy or a chew or something. So I asked Claude, let's imagine 1 year from now, how could this shopping experience look like? And this is what it came up with. So I asked a very simple question. I asked Claude here, I need a dog toy. I gave it a budget, $15, and then it started searching. Now you might notice, I didn't give Claude a lot of background. Like, I didn't tell him about my dog. I didn't tell him his name or his breed or what he likes, what he doesn't like, because Claude already has all of that background from me. Because of course, we are 1 year from now, so I'm already deeply indulged in this AI shopping experience, and my preferred agent already knows my preferences and of course, my dog's preferences. So now Claude is going into some steps. It is checking all the stores that it can find out there. It is reading the details, the product descriptions. It is checking for all the reviews. Basically what we did before ourselves, it also wants to make sure that you're buying a great product. It is comparing prices. I gave it a clear budget. It is checking for availability if this product is really in stock. Because I think everyone knows there's not much more frustrating than being in a checkout process and then you figure out, oh, this product is actually not available. And in the end, it's also checking for trust scores, making sure you're buying from a trusted seller out there. And now Claude is coming up with 3 examples for me that it's recommending. So it's coming up with tennis balls that you can play fetch with your dog. It's coming up with a rope toy that you can play with him tug of war, or with a squishy plush bear. And it's very personalized. It's always telling me like, hey, this is a great choice for your dog because of your dog's preferences, because it has all of their background. I tell Claude this is a great product. I want to have this rope toy. Please go ahead and order it for me. And now we can see here it's placing the order, finishing the payment, and directly giving me the shipping, the tracking number. So we finished the complete order within the interface. And now Claude is giving me an interesting comment here. Claude is telling me, you just bought from the Paw Perfect store without ever visiting their website. Please hold that thought. We're not quite there yet, I'm sorry. Please hold that thought for a minute. We will come back to that. Let's take a look at what just happened here. We have given Claude not much context. We just said, I want a dog toy. Now it went on, did all of those steps, the discovery, the research, analyze, it presented the options to me, and then it went through the execution. Now, if we think of this, basically step 1 to 4 are already out there. You can do all of that already with AI, with the agents that you're working with every day. The last step, the execution, the actual checkout, the payment, the shipping. This is the one step which is still being worked on. But trust me, the payment providers out there, the shipping providers out there, all the big e-commerce stores, they are working on that right now to get it right. So while this was an example a little bit in the future, I believe this is not very far away. So this was a great shopping experience. The customer is happy. My dog is playing with his new toy. And since I just said that we went a little bit into the future, I want to give you a quick overview of what is already out there, what is already possible. This is one example from Amazon. Amazon has this buy for me option, which is kind of a light AI, which can recommend products for you and directly go through the checkout. Now, if you think about those huge e-commerce stores, they basically have it all. They have the products, they have the adoption rates, they have the customers on board, they have the merchants on board. They have the complete checkout. So the only thing they need to do right now is putting the agent on top. And one thing that's interesting here, Amazon, for example, is starting to lock down their system. So they know what's happening. They know that there are AI bots out there and crawling websites and trying to get this shopping experience. So they want to go the other way around. They want to be like the one shopping platform. So they are preventing AI bots from crawling their website and from actually buying products from their website, which is an interesting thought for us here in open source, right? This is why I want to take a look at what is maybe more relevant for us here in the ecosystem, and this is the WordPress MCP. So what our technical team, you see a lot of green over here, what they did, they built a little proof of concept how this could look like. So they took the WordPress MCP, the Model Context Protocol, connected it to the Store API of a little test store, connected it to an OpenAI Model 4, and this is what it looks like. Quick disclosure first, we didn't connect any payment. This is still the part that I said, which is a bit tricky, but the rest is already there. So here we are in the backend. You see there are no orders yet. So if we go to the front end, we can start browsing the store and ask for what products are in there. For example, watches. Now it goes through this shop, shows us all the products which are in there, and now I can start interacting with it. I can ask for specific details. I want to see this product over here, this Summit watch, and it will go and fetch all the details now from this product. You can see here with pricing and everything, this is the product that I wanted to know more about. I can interact with this. I can ask specific questions like what is the bandwidth size of this? And it will go fetch this information from the product description. I like this product, now I want to buy it. It's showing me this product here in my cart. I can verify if everything is okay. And now I can say, this is all cool, please place the order. And here we see the checkout summary. As I said, the payment is not in here, but the rest is basically there. And since we are nice to AI, we are saying thank you, of course. And if we now go back to the back end and refresh that, we can see that the order has been placed. So this is just a very quick proof of concept that the team built. If you want to know more about the technical details of this, I would like to invite you over later, because the team is usually around the PayPal booth and they will be able to answer more questions if you have any technical deep dive questions around that. Coming back to the thought that we had before, you remember this little shopping experience with my dog, the dog toy, and that this was completely in Claude and that I didn't leave the interface. This brings us to the question, how will interfaces evolve in the future? This is what we know today. This is a typical e-commerce shop where you can see the products, you have a search bar, you have probably some chat assistants, and you go and find your products, proceed with checkout, and so on. Now, what we've seen in the little mock-up from Claude was that it might be able very soon to do this in a chatbot interface. So you could start interacting with your AI agent, with your chatbot, and go ahead and do the checkout in there. For me personally, those kind of chatbots start feeling a little bit outdated because you have a very interactive task for an AI agent, but you need to go in this little chat window, you need to type in your prompt, and then it's coming back to you with an answer and so on. So what other options might be out there? There are new devices out there, for example, like voice-only devices, which absolutely makes sense to me if I think about specific tasks, for example, like language tutoring, where you want to get direct feedback. I think everyone who ever tried to learn a language knows the only way of really learning is speaking and getting direct feedback. And there are already devices for something like this out there, where you can interact with your AI bot in natural language. A very interesting use case will be also for point of sale, POS. Because think about, right now you might go to a McDonald's, for example, every Thursday morning and order a large cafe. Now, if you have an AI agent involved in this, you could say, hey, I'm on my way to McDonald's, please place the order, and it's asking you, hey, the usual order, and you're like, yes, large coffee, as always, and it goes ahead, you arrive, you directly pick up your order. There are a lot of use cases for that out there to just make a shopping experience very convenient and very immersed. Another great use case out there that I was never really convinced about is virtual reality and augmented reality. Because if you think about shopping, this totally makes sense to me. You might want to buy a product, for example, a car. You go to the car dealer, you're buying this really, really expensive product. And for example, you're planning to buy a green car, but the dealer only has a blue car in stock. So you're buying a product that you've never really seen before. Now, with virtual reality, you might be able to see the product actually as it looks like, exactly the way you want to buy it. You might be able to swipe and change colors, open the door, get in, and see what it really looks like. Brings us also to augmented reality. If you're thinking about clothes shopping, right now this can be tiring. You have the option to going to the city center, finding the right store, finding the right t-shirt, finding the right size, queuing to actually try it on. Or you go into online shopping, you order something, and you might come back and it doesn't really fit, so you have to send it back. So I could now go ahead with my VR glasses, try on this t-shirt and be like, hey, I'm wearing a really flashy green t-shirt here. What color can I wear with it? So I believe this is a really good use case for it, and I'm actually excited to see something like this happening. If this now sounds a bit scary, because we've been talking about that interfaces, as we know, websites, stores, might not be visible anymore. Because I believe this is what a lot of people here in this room are actually doing, building websites, building shops. The question is, how can we prepare for what is next? And how can we make sure that our content, our products, can be still found also by AI agents? One very big part will be content and website optimization. And the first point I want to talk about here is reviews and testimonials. Of course, you can't just go ahead and create good reviews. This is not how this is working. But one thing that is crucial and that we made very good experience with is having a top-notch customer support, a customer service, which is actually taking care of your customers and solving their problems. So they might be inclined to leave you a good review in the end. The other leverage you have is asking actively for testimonials and presenting case studies about what you're doing. The next thing that will become more and more important is structured content. We've seen before that in our little proof of concept, the AI bot was able to fetch this data directly from the product description and present it to us in a way that we could interact with. So this is becoming more and more important. Having structured content and giving AI context. Because AI is not really looking for a keyword or something. It is looking to answer a question, to solve a problem. So you want to make sure that you are solving this problem in your product description. And a great way to do this would be a structured FAQ section. Think about what they might look for, what issues customers might have, and answer this proactively in an FAQ section. The next thing that's very important is latency, speed. Because I, as a human shopper, might be okay with waiting 5 or even longer seconds at the checkout, but AI bots are thinking at a different scale. They might be just dropping off and go take their business somewhere else. And the last thing here is security badges, trusted seller badges. You want to make sure that AI understands that you're a trustworthy seller where it can buy from. Now, after going all of those steps and optimizing, it's a good way to start measuring and take it from there, iterate on it. So some metrics that you're measuring right now might be already there, but some might also change a bit to take into consideration how AI works. So one thing that you can measure is the structured data coverage, making sure that your products are fully described, that things like product availability are always up to date. The next thing you want to start measuring is AI bot traffic. You want to make sure you know the ratio between human website visitors and how many AI bots do you have on your website. And last but not least, you're coming to the traffic conversion, how much of the conversion goes through AI or human users, and connected to that, the cart abandonment. Because if AI is never able to actually finish the checkout process, you might have a problem there. Now, to put this all a bit into context, what we just heard, and giving a bit of an outlook, I want to talk about how the disruption of e-commerce looks like and what this means for us in our ecosystem. The first thing that we briefly touched on before was that how content will be consumed might change in future. You are not just looking for the human users, you are also looking for AI bots. How are they using your website? Right now, we are very focused on getting the right keywords, measuring clicks, measuring bounce rates, and this will probably change a little bit in future. I'm not saying SEO is going anywhere, because we will still look into search engine optimization. We will always have human users. But in addition to that, we will also look at AEO as answer engine optimization, what AI is actually looking for. Because what we said before is that AI is not really looking for a keyword, but it is looking for answers. And you want to be ready to answer the questions that AI has. This also brings me to the question, how the traditional e-commerce will evolve. Right now, we know some big players that are holding a lot of share out there. And as we saw in the little example before with Amazon, some of them might be inclined to locking up their systems, trying to keep their share and building those platforms by themselves. But other systems, or smaller, medium-sized shops, they might be more inclined to leaning into this, making sure that AI can really find their products and present them to users in a way that they want to shop them. So what we've seen with AI the last months, years, is that we're developing with incredible speed. And it doesn't have to be like the fastest is maybe the solution that wins. I think it's more about the timing and actually getting it right, understanding what users want. But I believe this also brings some opportunities for all of us. Right now, a lot is happening in the ecosystem. Like, for example, if we are thinking about the WordPress AI team, which is being built right now. The first in-person team ever in New York. I think this is a strong signal that the ecosystem is really leaning into this challenge and trying to solve this fast. What we've also seen before, evolutions like the WordPress MCP that might help us. And after all, we are open source, which stands a lot for creativity. And we have a lot of brilliant minds, I'm pretty sure also in this room. And I'm pretty sure that they will come up with some awesome solutions. So I want to come back one last time to Mrs. Johnson from the beginning, the lovely lady from the corner store. We are coming full circle. So Mrs. Johnson is back now. She is your favorite AI agent. She is ChatGPT, she is Claude, she is Perplexity. This time, she's ready not only to shop for you, but for millions out there. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions?
Hi. Hello.
Hey.
I was just wondering if there's anything, so if we have a shop, if there's anything that we can be doing differently. I mean, SEO, this is AIO, or if it's been coined or whatever, but is there anything specific? I know you mentioned structured data, but that we can be doing to make sure that when someone enters, how do I find, and our product would be a good match, that it shows up in ChatGPT, Claude, any of these?
Yeah, thank you so much for your question. I was hoping the first question would be about my dog, but that's a very good question as well. Thank you so much. Well, as I said, there are some things how you can starting to prepare your content and your website, making sure that it's ready and really starting to measure those metrics. Of course, you could now go ahead and ask any AI agent this specific question like, hey, do you know about this company? Do you know about this shop? Do you know about this product? And seeing what happens. Does it find this product already? Is there any issue? So I would try to take it from there and try to really monitor the development that is out there. Because as I said before, speed is everything here right now, and things might look completely different in a week from now.
Hello. My question is, why is payment a problem? Because we've had financial payments over the internet a great many years. I was in India last year, and just about everybody uses their phone there rather than cash or cards. So what's the bottleneck?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thanks. For payments, the main problem right now is making it secure. I mean, you are talking now to an AI agent. It needs to go through a completely different channel, and you still want to make sure that everything is handled in a secure way, that it's tokenized. And as I said, they are all racing right now. I think we are very, very close to making that happen, but it's not actually out there yet.
My question, I think, piggybacks on his. Assuming in a year that this will be available and the payment thing will be working, as shop owners, is it our shop that's going to be storing a payment card information from a bot that's buying it? Is it the bot that's going to be storing it? Like, where is that piece going to be located?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there are different ways to solve this problem. What makes most sense to me at least is that the AI agent is really completing this checkout on the consumer's behalf, and really the complete payment process will be handled in there. But this is one take on this. There might be also like 5 other solutions out there. Like if you think about DoorDash, for example, which is kind of doing this already. You are ordering something like a salad, and then you have a human agent, like your driver, which is going to the store. He gets a one-time payment credit card with like a fixed amount, a time window where he can make this purchase, and then he can make this purchase on your behalf and complete the checkout.
I've been grappling a lot with this thought, not just in this topic, but in a lot of topics. If the AI can just consume the structured data and essentially present the shopping experience, and you can serve the structured data from like an S3 bucket with like a JSON and an API, what role does the actual site store play anymore then? Why build it?
Yeah, that's a provocative question. And I'm totally with you there. And I think the answer to it is that AI will be not your only consumer. For a very, very long time, you will still have human shoppers. I think this is also like a generational thing. I could imagine that people that just got like onto online shopping, I don't know if they will hop on the train with AI-based shopping. So I believe for a pretty long time, we will have both out there. And the percentages will move, the cut will move. How much will be with human checkout and how much will be with AI checkout? All right, if we don't have any other questions, as I said before, we are around the PayPal booth. If you have any other questions, if you want to discuss what you just heard, I would also love to hear your take on this because it's really a hot topic at the moment. So come find us. I will be happy to chat. Thank you so much.